When I was a kid, I would have done anything to fit in. I wasn't very popular in middle school, but there was one group of girls I finally managed to get in with from my field hockey team. They were planning a big sleepover at a girl named Rachel's house, and I saw an opportunity to score some points. My house is pretty huge, and we had a nice living room with a pool table and TV. I told them they could have their sleepover at my place, and just as I'd hoped, they went along with it. There were a total of 6 of us. My parents were so happy that I finally had some friends over that they didn't set a curfew or keep an eye on us. It went well at first, with some truth or dare and a gossip that I didn't really understand. I really thought I was on the right track with them. Then a knock at the door stopped the party. It was late enough that my parents were already asleep, so I couldn't imagine who would be at our house at that time. I told the others that I would check it out, and I walked up to the people. Standing on the porch was a tall, thin man wearing a beaten jacket and torn pants. He was so tall that his head was out of sight. The man must have heard my footsteps, because right when I came to the people, he bent down and put his face right against the door. He had long, matted hair that covered his eyes, and his teeth were brown. I jumped back and ran to the living room. The girls gave me a strange look and asked if something was wrong. At that point, I should have told my parents, but I didn't want to ruin the night for everyone else. I was tense while we were watching the next movie. I prayed that whoever that man was left when nobody came to the door. But almost an hour after I first saw him, I heard someone muttering the name Mary through the crack in the window near the door. I was the only one who heard it, so I told the girls I had to use the bathroom and went to slam the window shut. I know it's really stupid that I let it go after that, but I was young and desperate. When I went to slam the window shut, there was nobody there. After that, I checked the locks on the other entrances and went back to the sleepover. There was no chance I'd enjoy the rest of that night. The others didn't even seem tired. When my turn came for this game about our crushes, I took so long to respond that they just skipped me. After things had started to settle, I heard muffled cries coming from the backyard. The other girls heard it too, but I told them it was nothing and that I'd check it out again. I went to the kitchen and grabbed a small knife. Not that it would do me any good, but having a weapon helped me feel a little less shaky. From the kitchen, I saw the same man from the porch standing on the grass, shouting at the sky. He kept repeating the same name, Mary. Somehow he noticed me. I could see his eyes. They were pitch black, not reflecting any of the light. He sprinted off to the side of the house before I could even move a muscle. It was too much for me to keep quiet, so I ran through the kitchen and past the living room. Chloe, one of the girls, asked what the sound was, but I didn't reply. Instead, I shouted for my dad. Dad heard me and came rushing downstairs. The girls were all up and trying to figure out what was going on when something started banging on the door. Dad told us all to get upstairs, and he grabbed a bat from the closet. The person outside slammed against the door, then pressed his face against the window, showing off his pale, scarred skin. The whole time, he kept roaring Mary's name like a beast. Dad took up the bat and threw open the door. The man ran off to the driveway before Dad could get his hands on him. The man stood in the driveway completely still, while Dad yelled at him to get out, and that he was calling the cops. The man put his head in his hands and shook like he was crying. I could just barely make out his last words, begging Mary for forgiveness before he walked off into the night. None of us slept that night. We crowded my parents' room, and the girls' families all picked them up the next day. That was the last time I hung out with any of them. Their parents wouldn't even let them near my place after what went down. I asked Dad why that man was shouting for that woman, Mary, and he had no idea. It turned out a woman named Mary lived in that house before us, but we never got any more information about her. We all got out safe, and that guy never came back, but he still managed to ruin my first and only sleepover.